Hello and welcome to the Motoring News Zone, the show where we take you through all the biggest stories in the world of cars right now. This week it's revealed how much depreciation the Cybertruck experiences in 12 months or less. Elon Musk's questionable political practices have driven the reputations of his company down. And we propose a two-door version of the Ford Maverick that could become very, very popular in the US. If you're watching on YouTube, skip to the timestamp in the video to watch the story that you are most interested in. So, without further ado, let's dive in. Let's talk about Tesla, because we don't do that enough on this channel, do we, guys? We don't speak about Tesla at all. We barely even mention them. But in all seriousness, we do talk about them a lot, and they're not usually making the headlines for the best of reasons. And unfortunately, today's story very much does fall into that category. The depreciation of Cybertrucks, not only in a literal sense, but also in a financial sense. The depreciation of these vehicles is rather stark, because two owners have gone viral recently for posting how much their Tesla Cybertrucks have depreciated in not very long time, both when it comes to the overall time they've owned them, but also with the mileage they've done on the odometer as well. It's rather stark, like I said, but let's just go into this, guys, because yeah, it's not a great stat. And something that's absolutely wild that I wasn't aware of is the fact that Tesla have mandated that you cannot sell your Cybertruck within a year of owning it. So if you fancy a new car or a new vehicle or want to get rid of that Cybertruck for whatever reason, after 6 months, 9 months, 11 months, you got to wait till 12 months to actually get rid of it. It is not allowed for you to actually trade it back in within a year, which I've never known anything like that. That is an absolutely wild thing to mandate. It's almost like they knew something was wrong with it and people would want to trade it in within a year, but no, that can't be it. Surely, no. That's not what's going on here, guys. Don't be fooled by that. And you might think, well, how serious are they when it comes to this resale thing? Well, they actually said that they would sue you for damages potentially if you attempted to do that, which, again, that is absolutely insane in itself. We realise this is your car here, but if you try and sell it on within a year, we will sue you into the ground. Oh, don't you take us up on that, because we will. And there's apparently no trade-in kind of mechanism really when it comes to Cybertrucks as well, so there's no way to actually do it. But yeah, a couple of Cybertruck owners have gone viral recently for posting how much their vehicles have actually depreciated in terms of their overall value after just 1 year of ownership. And with both of them, despite there being around a 10,000 mile difference in terms of how much they have driven, they have both lost around 37-38% of their original value in just 12 months, which that's a lot. That is a hell of a lot of depreciation in just that small space of time. So to put that into context, the Cybertruck, when it was new, at least when it was new for this owner anyway, the first one, it sold for 100 grand, and it currently is worth, according to these estimates, $63,000. So it's lost $37,000 in just 12 months. The second owner, though, they paid in total, including tax, $127,000 for their Cybertruck, probably because they had quite a few different add-ons and modifications to it, and that resale value for that is now $78,000, which is a depreciation of just 38%. And in fact, this second owner has actually only owned it for 8 months. That's even less. And again, because of the 12-month thing, they can't actually sell it on yet. So when it does get to 12 months, presumably, it's going to be worth even less. Now, of course, devil's advocate, these are just estimates. These are not rock solid things. They may well resell their Cybertrucks for even more than these values. It's just an estimate at the end of the day, but it does provide a rough estimate for what it would be in most circumstances to sell these vehicles on. But that is incredible. That is a shocking amount of depreciation. But given all the bad press around the Cybertruck, given the fact that it's sold so poorly compared to the estimates, all the complaints about it, the rumours about rust, all sorts of things, the fact it can't even off-road properly according to a lot of people who've actually driven one, you know, there's a lot of bad press around it. So are you really surprised that it's depreciated by that much in 12 months, or in some cases even less than 12 months? No, not really, to be honest. The fact is as well is that EVs are very poor when it comes to resale value in general. They used EVs are a lot cheaper than their gas-powered equivalents, of course, in most cases. So despite the fact that these EVs in general are more expensive when they are new, when you come to resell them, they are less. And there's many reasons for that. I've covered it many times on here on the channel, but there's a lot of reasons for that. So it's not a huge surprise that it is losing a lot of value, but the fact that it's losing this much, I think, in a short space of time is quite concerning, to say the very least. So if you are looking to make a sound financial investment, do not invest in a Cybertruck, I would say. You will lose a lot of money. And someone actually calculated this as well in the comments. A shout out for them. Basically, for every single mile that you drive in a Cybertruck, it loses $6 of value on average. Now, that doesn't include the running costs of actually powering up with electricity, things like insurance, and any kind of other general maintenance costs you have as well. So that's a lot of money you're losing. I mean, at the end of the day, if you've got enough money to buy a Cybertruck, you probably aren't too worried about that, really. But for the rest of us, no, even if we did have the money for it, I don't think that's a very wise decision, really, getting one of those. But your thoughts in the comments below, guys. Are you surprised by how much this has actually cost these owners over less than 12 months in most cases? I want to hear what you have to say in the comments below. And what about that 12-month ban on reselling as well? That is a shocker, really, I must admit. Could Ford launch some new versions of the Maverick and really revolutionize the pickup market? Well, perhaps. They don't really need to, given that Ford have the best-selling car in the USA of all time and every single year, the Ford F-150 pickup truck. But you can never have too much of a good thing at the end of the day, so there's definite possibility for the Maverick to be expanded to some different versions. Now, what are these different versions? Well, I'll explain all in this video here for you guys. A lot of people online are calling for a two-door, two-seater version of the Maverick that would have a shorter wheelbase and dressed in an eye-catching shade of red perhaps as well, just to give it that retro feel. It could also have a custom front bumper and extended side skirts as well to give the truck a more aggressive look, something that's just a bit more bespoke, a bit more flash, you know, something cooler for you to actually have. And this is what somebody called Ambimelic Designs have created on Facebook and posted to the social media platform with this as well. I think this has got some big potential if Ford actually try and mass produce something similar to it. So shout out to these guys for actually making it. I'll put some pictures on the screen while I'm talking about it some more as well. But it's also got a lowered suspension setup as well and a redesigned flatbed at the back as well, just to give it some more performance, some more streamlinedness, for lack of a better term. And in some ways, not too dissimilar to a lot of people being, you know, very retro-orientated when it comes to things like the Volkswagen camper van. You know, that's very popular over here. I imagine it is in the States as well, where you can just basically just drive it around and live in it. I'm not saying that would be this, but it's that kind of nostalgia, that kind of similar vibe as the VW camper van. I think it's got something about it, this. And if Ford designed to make a Maverick like this, well, I think it could be a big success. I could definitely see some potential. However, it's not quite perfect. There's some problems associated with this, and it's not necessarily these guys who've redesigned this truck, but instead actually it's Ford themselves. According to a lot of people online, they're pretty unhappy with how the price has increased over the last few years. Apparently it's gone from around $20,000 retail value to around $30,000 for a new one, which again, that's a big difference. That's a 50% price increase in just a few years. People are happy with a two-door version of this, but they actually do want as well something just very bare bones, something very simple, something like the Slate pickup truck, that EV pickup truck, that fully customizable one. That is what a lot of people are wanting right now. Something that I was a little skeptical about at first, but a lot of people are really defending it. A lot of people are really liking the look of it online. So, you know, I can see the appeal of something like this, but I can also see why people might want a truly bare bones version rather than something that's a bit more flash and show off. So your thoughts in the comments below, guys. A bare bones Maverick, would that do better than something like this, something that's a bit more flash? I want to hear what you have to say in the comments below as always. So according to a recent survey by Axios Harris, out of all the major American companies out there, guess who was near the bottom? Shockingly, incredibly, I never saw this coming. Tesla are consistently ranked as one of the worst companies in the US when it comes to their ethics and character. Now, you might be wondering, well, what could have possibly happened? What's happened this year to change Tesla's kind of reputation negatively? Well, gee, I don't know. Something definitely might have happened during a global event twice in very quick succession, one going one way, one going the other, but both pointing in the same direction, if you know what I'm saying. That definitely didn't help, but it's not just that. There's other things as well, really, when it comes to Elon Musk, but let me just go through some of the key findings in this poll, guys, because, yeah, it's not really surprising that Tesla are one of the worst here, but let me just go into depth exactly why people are saying they are the worst when it comes to ethics and character. Again, not really rocket science to go into why the reasons for this are. Now, it was not always thus when it comes to Tesla. Now, this survey from Axios Harris is basically a survey of the 100 most visible companies in America. So the most 100 prominent companies in America in terms of their reach, in terms of their influence, in terms of who actually knows them. Now, out of that 100, Tesla before was actually as high as 8th place, but this was all before Elon Musk bought Twitter and rebranded it to X. Now, last year in 2024, they dropped down to 63rd, basically in the bottom half. And now in 2025, when they've done their most recent survey, they are down to 95th. There's only 5 more companies below them in this ranking. Now, to put it into overall context, companies such as BP, the company behind the Deepwater Horizon environmental disaster, as well as Volkswagen, which cheated diesel emissions tests for years before being caught. Remember that back in the day. And even United Health Group, which is a company that is infamous for criticism over its alleged, these are allegations, profits over healthcare practices. They all scored higher, significantly higher in some cases than what Tesla did. When it came to the individual attributes that go to aggregate this score altogether, the worst ones overall were trust and ethics, which came in at 98th overall, and they were 99th in both citizenship, and also dead last, 100th out of 100 when it came to character. He's certainly a character, is Musk. There's no doubt about that. But the right character, well, I'll let you guys debate that in the comments below. But clearly, there's a lot of people out there that are not happy with him right now. Now, it's not unique for Tesla to actually be as low as this when it comes to Elon Musk companies. In fact, SpaceX, they are 86th in this ranking, and X are 98th. They are actually lower than Tesla. Only 2 companies are worse than them according to these surveys. So you might be wondering why this is. Well, of course, politics. Elon Musk is a very, very toxic figure in the eyes of many people when it comes to politics right now. And it's not just the salutes that he did on stage, but also what he's been doing as part of his Doge program at the moment. And it's not just in the United States either. Here in the UK, he's very much been meddling when it comes to politics, or at least trying to meddle when it comes to politics. He was friends with Nigel Farage. Now he's not friends with Nigel Farage. Really confusing situation there. He's also supported some far-right parties here in Europe as well, such as the AfD over in Germany. And he's also promoted, of course, Stephen Yaxley Lennon, aka Tommy Robinson, one of the most controversial figures in British politics. It very much seems like he's trying to get his fingers into as many different pies around the world as possible and rubbing a lot of people up the wrong way while he's doing so. And we've already spoken about Tesla and their reputation. The Cybertruck has been an unmitigated disaster. Their sales are falling, and it very much feels as though Musk's reputation when it comes to all these politics are very much rubbing off on the companies that he is actually, associated with, the companies that he owns. And there's been calls for him to step down as the CEO of Tesla as well, which, he said he won't do, but, makes a lot of promises and doesn't keep them. So we'll see what happens, guys, with all this. But yeah, basically, unsurprisingly, at the moment, Tesla's reputation is in the toilet, and here is proof of it. Not as far down the drain as X, but not quite as high up as SpaceX. But SpaceX not that much better overall. Your thoughts are appreciated in the comments below, as always, guys. Have a fantastic day wherever you are in the world today. And yeah, like I said, get your thoughts in the comments. I'm sure people have got plenty of them when it comes to Elon Musk and Tesla. All right, guys, here we go. Elon Musk is in the press again. He's coming out with quotes, making promises. Now he's promising to put thousands of self-driving Teslas on the roads in the United States by the end of 2025. Now, Musk has been making some bold claims recently, particularly when it comes to the Robotaxis. They're trying to get them on the road in Saudi Arabia, in Dubai, also in the US as well, and yeah, running into a few hurdles, to put it politely. And now he's saying that he wants to bring Teslas onto the road into the US that are going to self-drive. And this is, of course, coming in the wake of a few journalists. I believe it was a Model 3. I'm pretty sure it was a Model 3 Tesla that was in its self-driving mode, and it ran a red light in Austin. And because of that, robo-taxis that they're wanting to bring to cities such as Austin, Texas, will be geo-fenced, as they said, basically ring-fenced out of certain areas of the city, because they are, quote, too difficult, too dangerous for the robotaxis to drive in, even though a city like Austin is very well laid out, apparently, very easy to drive around. So Lord knows what it's going to be like in somewhere like New York or Boston or maybe San Francisco or hell, even Europe. Can you imagine one of those things on the roads of London? Ooh, no. London traffic would absolutely eat it for breakfast. But let's have a look at what he's been saying here, guys, because like I said, Musk and Tesla, their reputations are not doing too great right now. I'm not talking about Nikola. He's long gone, unfortunately. I'm talking about Tesla, the car company, of course, here. But yeah, thousands of self-driving... I'm trying not to laugh here, guys, honestly. Thousands of self-driving Teslas by the end of the year. Is it going to happen? Let's have a look at what Musk has been saying about this. Well, first of all, the first thing he did was that he downplayed any damage to the Tesla brand recently, despite their falling sales, their reputation being down, trying to put all these discounts on their vehicles, the Cybertrucks being a disaster. It's not a big deal. He said that they are due to have a major rebound soon. And this is going to be part of it, apparently. He said, and I quote, "We'll probably have hundreds of thousands, if not over a million guys, of Teslas doing self-driving in the US, he told CNBC during an interview. And he further added, like you're asleep and you wake up at your destination. I would definitely not get one of these vehicles, and I sure as hell would not fall asleep in one. Musk has also been promising fully autonomous self-driving vehicles by next year for a decade now. So it's rather late on these promises, but the pressure is now on as Tesla begins its full test of self-driving taxis in Austin, Texas next month. Like I said, the testing so far in Austin has not gone to plan. He said, and I quote, Dan Ives, who works for Wedbush Securities Analysis, said the following on this. These are rather bullish forecasts. This could be a watershed time for Tesla, and Musk is doubling down on these numbers. Yeah, absolutely. Unsurprisingly, Musk did not give many details about the service we can expect in Austin from his self-driving robotaxis, but he also said that they will only be geo-fenced at first and they will monitor them very closely during this time. Still not really screaming confidence there, to be honest with you, when it comes to that. Musk also said about these self-driving cars, when he compared them to the taxis, he said, I think it'll be better. I don't really think about the competitors. I just think about making the product as perfect as possible. Interesting words there, given some of how imperfect his recent products have been, but I'm not going to comment any further on that. I've made my feelings very clear in other videos. There's also been rumours about him stepping down from Tesla because of controversies, of course, but he said that it's not going to happen, that he's going to be still chief executive of Tesla in at least 5 years' time. And he said the only thing that would stop him being the CEO of Tesla was if he would. And he also said that the only thing that would stop him being the CEO of Tesla would be that if he died. I mean, that would stop him, to be fair. Yeah, I doubt he can continue in that capacity after that. So yeah, I'm confident. Some confident quotes there from Elon Musk when it comes to these. I don't see this happening personally. Thousands, if not a million. Mate, a million. You're going for 7 figures. No chance. That is not happening. I cannot see. That is just too much. That is too much. I mean, they're obviously going to do these tests, and I hope they're a success, and I hope they're all good and everything. But and nobody gets hurt. That's the main thing as well, because it's not just about the cars that are going out self-driving. It's also about the regular people going about their commute and their daily business. I don't want to hear about any of them getting hit by one of these self-driving Teslas. That's not going to be very positive at all. But we'll see what happens, guys. If you're an Austin resident, let us know how things are going. If you spot any of these robo-taxis or any of these self-driving Teslas out on the roads, I want to hear what you have to say about them and how well they're doing. Your thoughts in the comments below. So, interesting article here on the motoringchronicle.com, basically going over how New York State has took in more tax revenue than ever before, but the roads have got even worse. This does kind of remind me of the situation in the UK where we have spent, I think, £15 billion, like $20 billion on the last 10 years on repairing potholes to our roads, like damage to the roads basically. And in that time, they've got markedly worse for many different reasons. But it usually just points to a bit of incompetence, really, when it comes to this stuff. But let's have a look at what's been said here, guys, because this headline is very much provocative for sure. Let's put it that way. But I'll dive into all the stats and all the findings here on this article on motoringchronicle.com as always. Released data studies are shedding light on the dangerous and rapidly deteriorating condition of New York's road infrastructure, even as taxpayers face growing financial burdens through tolls, congestion pricing, police-issued fines, and traffic cameras. Led by traffic attorney James Meadows, the study calls for urgent transparency and reform in how the city and state allocate transportation funds. According to the report, compiled using sources including TRIP Transportation Research Group, NYC Department of Transportation, and the New York State Bridge Inspection records, 43% of New York's major roadways are classified in poor or mediocre condition. Meanwhile, nearly 10% of bridges statewide are structurally deficient, threatening both public safety and economic stability. New Yorkers are paying more than ever to drive on some of the most unsafe and neglected roads in the country, said James Meadows, who has represented thousands of drivers in traffic-related matters. This isn't just about inconvenience, it's about the emergency response delays, damage to vehicles, and a system that continues to extract from drivers while failing to deliver on even the basics. And there's a little graph there that does break things down. So according to this, in 2024, just over 50% of the roads were marked as good, just under 20% were marked as mediocre, and around 25% were poor. So if you combine them up together, you're talking about nearly half of all roads, which is not great. A quarter of roads being poor, that is really bad, to be honest. But the key findings of this graph are as such. Road quality, 43% of major state roads are in poor or mediocre shape. NYC streets frequently show signs of long-term neglect, potholes, cracked surface, and water-damaged foundations. Bridge deterioration. Nearly 1,700 of New York's 17,000 bridges are structurally deficient. Major corridors like the Brooklyn-Queens Expressway and the I-95 are flagged in critical need of repair. Congestion costs. In 2024, traffic congestion cost New York City drivers an estimated $9.5 billion in productivity losses. Midtown speeds dropped to a historic low of 4.8 miles per hour. Emergency response delays, and this is probably the worst of the lot. Average EMS response times for non-life-threatening emergencies have grown from 8.3 minutes to 23.3 minutes. That's happened over the last decade, with life-threatening cases seeing similar trends. Revenue discrepancy. Despite rising congestion tolls of $9 per vehicle, ticket revenue, and MTA funding, street conditions continue to decline with little transparency in how funds are applied. The report is recommending 4 different things, the first of which is an annual transparency audit. Publish detailed spending records showing where traffic fine, toll, and congestion pricing revenue is allocated. This is something that people are calling for in a lot of countries. And again, we're doing this in the UK right now, where they're wanting to know where the money is actually being spent. And the government, unsurprisingly, it's been quite opaque, really, shall we say, when it comes to where this money's going. I'm not saying where it's going, but a lot of people are saying that it's going to the government's back pockets. I'm not saying that's the case, but some people are saying that's the case. Second one, emergency prioritization. Expedite resurfacing of critical roadways and bridges with the public tracking dashboards. Number 3, accountability in spending. Mandate a percentage of funds from new toll and congestion zones to be reinvested directly into road safety. And number 4, technology and traffic flow. Improve signal timing, open emergency lanes, and reduce gridlock patterns that slow down ambulances and first responders. And emergency prioritization, the second one of them, is probably the most important. So, for example, in June 2024, a man in Chelsea, I'm assuming that is Chelsea, New York, rather than Chelsea, London, waited 37 minutes for an ambulance due to blocked intersections and bridge traffic. In the Bronx, firefighters were delayed by congestion on flagged overpasses, one scheduled for repairs 3 years prior. not good. Not good. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's annoying being caught up in traffic, but it does have some serious real world consequences like that report is very much going over. I mean, are you a New York resident? Have you found that things are just getting worse when it comes to this? I did hear recently when I did a video going over the congestion charge that is in place in New York City now, that apparently things have got better in terms of traffic overall. People are noticing less cars out and about in the center of New York, but this is something that just affects the entire state. This is this report going over the entire state, not just central New York, not just the New York metropolitan area, but also the entire state of New York. And I know that technically some of the NYC metropolitan area goes into New Jersey, but you get what I'm saying. That region, basically, things on the whole are getting a lot worse according to this report. But I want to hear from you guys on the ground. If you're around there, if you're a citizen of there, if you are someone who goes there regularly, is this the case? Is that accurate? I want to hear what you have to say in the comments below. Like, share, comment, subscribe as always, guys, and have a fantastic day wherever you are in the world today. And if you're in New York, good luck getting around. Doesn't sound too positive right now.